In this edition of Frazier's Corner, Associate Vice President and Director of Athletics Sean T. Frazier will go over a few of the hot-button issues that are taking place in the ever-changing landscape of intercollegiate athletics and how NIU is addressing these issues. NIU will host the 2017 NCAA Men's and Women's Golf Championships at Rich Harvest Farms in May of 2017. How are preparations for the championships going, and how can fans get involved?
Well, first off, great question. The preparation is going great. You know, we've been able to talk to NCAA, Rich Harvest Farm staff, our staff. We're really excited. The best thing about this championship, it's the first of its kind here that we will host for NIU. So that's the number one thing. We'll be a part of history. And also, too, this will lay the framework and the foundation for future NCAA championships. So that's the first thing. It's ongoing. You know, we're constantly meeting. We're working with the staff both at the NCAA, NIU Athletics staff, Rich Harvest Farm staff. We're really uniting the campus and the community around this event. So that's ongoing piece. The other part of it is that the volunteerism part of it. Fans will have the chance to volunteer to the championship. We'll also have the ability to sell different ticket packages, and that will happen probably in the next month or two. We're excited about the overall interest in what's going on in the championship, not just for Sugar Grove, where Rich Harvest Farms resides, but just overall in Chicagoland. You know, we have 145,000 living alums. We have folks who are very interested in golf, and this is a great way to really talk about the game of golf as well as NIU in the same vein.
Although NIU remains one of the nation's winningest football programs over the last 6 seasons, last year the Huskies lost their last 3 games, including a defeat in the bowl game to Boise State. What are your expectations for the football program this year?
Well, you know, it was a tough loss, and Coach Carey, our team, you know, we really did a lot of reflecting on what happened in the game itself. It's obviously not indicative of our program and what we have accomplished, especially over the past decade. We're used to winning academically and athletically. So the great news is that we have another shot at it. You know, we have a lot of momentum going into this year. I know for a fact that preparation is an all-time high. We've added 2 new coordinators, offensive and defensive. Coach Carey has been working tirelessly to take a look at offense, defense, special teams, everything that goes into our program. So I'm really excited about this team. You know, we've got a lot of veterans coming back. We got new players within the system, fitting some of those holes that we had from a personnel standpoint. But at the end of the day, our body of work really tells the story. You know, we are going to be ready for a non-conference schedule. We're going to be ready for our conference schedule, and I'm excited about this year. This is going to be really, really nice to watch. But more importantly, we will be in that national conversation.
NIU will play Toledo in the Husky Chi-Town Showdown at U.S. Cellular Field on November 9th. What were the primary reasons for moving such an important conference rivalry game away from the Huskies' home stadium?
Yeah, you know, I've addressed this a number of times, but it's always good to talk through it again. You know, the bottom line is this. The Chicago media market, the 3rd largest in the country, we need to make sure that we have a presence. We have a slice of that proverbial pie. Very important for us, especially with our 145,000 living alums right in Chicagoland, that they have a chance to kind of witness the greatness of our football program. So having a place in Chicago, U.S. Cellular Field, the White Sox organization, all the things that make it special. It's historic. It's the first time we've ever played a football game in the stadium. And we'll have an opportunity to really show our brand of football with against an unbelievable opponent, Toledo. It's going to be a great time to be able to match up, and where, quite frankly, this thing could be a major part in our roadway back to a MAC title. So the preparation is going well. Ticket sales are up. We've got a bit of a buzz, excitement going on. And it's also good to understand that, you know, we have a significant presence here in Chicago, and we need to continue that with a game that really highlights our program and our great university.
Since your arrival 3 years ago, you've said moving the NIU program forward will take a team effort. What role must NIU fans and alumni play in the effort in order to achieve the desired results?
Well, you know, I get asked a lot about what can we do, Sean? What do you want of us? And that question is coming from alumni, supporters of the program. And the quick and short answer is be involved. We have a number of things that we do across the board, not just in athletics, but on the campus. We have great faculty and staff. We have great momentum as it relates to the university. And I would probably challenge you to say, or to do, quite frankly, is to be engaged with our students, be engaged with our programs, come to our campus, understand what we represent. There's great pockets of success all through our academic side of the house and on our athletic side of the house. So I would probably challenge folks that ask, what can we do? Well, get involved. Get to know our world-class academics and athletics, and find a way where the intersection of what you do in your daily life works with NIU and vice versa. So if that's being a part of the Husky Athletic Fund, if that's being a part of a particular college, go out of your way to do that. If you're a true supporter, a true alumni, somebody who wants to advance the ideals of the university, it's a natural. It's a part of how one does business when they support their university, especially on an affinity side. So I would just challenge folks to get more involved. Simple as that. And give me a call. I'll give you some ideas.
What would you consider your biggest achievement since your arrival at NIU?
Yeah, that's a great question. And just reflecting on some of that, we've had a lot of great success. We've achieved some things academically and athletically, turnaround basketball, academically maintaining a 3.145 overall GPA, doing things consistently with volleyball and men's tennis, obviously the football success, winning championships. But I would honestly say, looking at everything that we've done, it's about positioning ourselves. We've completed a strategic planning process. We've made sure that our facilities master plan is up and running. Our organization around our Husky Athletic Fund and some of our record-breaking fundraising efforts, I think all that collectively puts us in a position for the next step. So if anything at this far in my tenure, and I've got a long time to go here, don't push me out, but I will tell you this, that all those things collectively have positioned us for the next step. That next step being a number of different things. We had talked about identifying a facilities master plan, project. We had talked about moving the agenda again across the board and our competition with our various sports. But I think all of those planning pieces have given us the momentum for success, and that's why a lot of folks are abuzz about NIU and NIU athletics specifically.
Speaking of the movement forward, what is the status of the facilities master plan?
Well, that's another great question here. We're in that identification role, and right now we're in a stalled process. Part of the issues now with our facilities master plan is that we have this thing called the state budget impasse. We are in the process of trying to shore up some of the missing dollars that's been left over from the campus. We have folks that have not received raises for 4 or 5 years. We have a bit of a hole financially to the tune of 40 to 60 million. There's some things campus-wise that need to be priority before we athletics can identify a particular project and say that we need to attach that from a private funding source. I need to make sure that I'm sensitive to that, and I totally back that. The optics of us going out on a major campaign right now to support a facilities project where we have folks possibly, quite frankly, not receiving certain amount of resources to do their job or to educate our particular kids, it's just not the message that we want to send. We stand pat with our university in that regard. Now, having said that, we are not standing still waiting without not having a plan. Our plan's in place, we continue our conversations, and we will be quite frankly very aggressive when the time comes to make sure we move forward with a particular project. But we do have to understand, these are real. Going out privately funding a particular project where we have significant financial shortfalls is optically inappropriate and not being budget conscious. So I stand by that. I've been involved with state and public institutions most of my career. I get it, but this too shall pass. We'll get through it. We'll be able to move forward, and I'm really excited about the future.
When can we expect an announcement about a fundraising campaign or a timeline for beginning a project?
I really do feel comfortable that hopefully this year will be the year. That's why I'm a little animated right now. I feel really good that this is going to be our year, both academically and athletically and fundraising wise. I think that once we get past some of the dust and understand that the timing through all the things that we've been waiting for, this past year was a tough year. But I really feel comfortable that this year will be our year to be able to identify and really move forward.
You mentioned the state budget impasse. Has there been movement on external factors that have provided obstacles to moving forward on the facilities master plan?
Well, I just mentioned that, and I would tell you that when there's significant debate about funding of higher education, and we have shortfalls in the millions, definitely, having a particular project being announced and then having funding measures around that, one would say, okay, well, if you have enough money to fund a private project for X, Y, Z millions of dollars, you definitely have enough money to be able to fund and solve your own problems. So I think the issues here about where we are budgetary. We do know that the majority of our budget, 33% of our operational budget, is on the backs of our students. Our students who want a Division I FBS program donate to our athletic department. So we know where our funding is coming. Our primary donor being our students with the student athletic fee. But at the end of the day, resources that are kept away from our academic side are really, really hurting us. And we need to make sure that we're sensitive to making sure we support the state, that we support our university. So as we get past this and solve these financial woes, that we are in lockstep about what is important for us. And what's important for us right now is to make sure we have a balanced budget and that we can execute the things that we say we're actually going to do.
The Big 12 Conference has announced plans to expand, which could have ripple effects to several schools and other FBS leagues. Where does NIU fit in these discussions?
Well, like I've said on many occasions, we've put ourselves in a situation where we should be having conversations, right? We should be in the conversation. I think that's really important. I think that at the end of the day, we are comfortable in being in the conference that we're currently in, which is in the MAC conference. But at the end of the day, for us to say that our body of work does not put us in the conversation as it relates to overall competition, academics, athletics, we should be a part of that. I'm really passionate about what we've done football-wise. I'm very passionate about a number of sports, from volleyball to men's tennis to our basketball programs. We have done a good job with putting ourselves in a national conversation that says, you know what, why not NIU? They're in the third largest media market in the country. They've been able to do things academically and athletically. And I think the conference conversation, and it's kind of ravenous right now, I'll just put it out there. I do think that it's a badge of respect that NIU has, and it's about NIU and the body of work over the years that NIU has put themselves in a conversation that warrants this level of respect. So as far as where we are conference-wise, although we're very proud about being in the MAC, I'm really happy that folks recognize the body of work academically and athletically that we currently have.
Some have said NIU is not a viable option for any other FBS leagues because the Huskies programs, other than football, do not win enough in the MAC.
Well, it's an interesting debate. One could say that some programs are more competitive than others. I think that especially since I've been here, we've shown that we've risen our level of competition. We've got great coaches. We've got great student athletes. We are challenged on the resource side, but what we've done with our resources is that we've made sure that we put the best quality product in the field of competition and academically. So I'm really proud to be able to say that. And if you look at our body of work in a number of different sports, you will see a consistent history of winning academically and athletically. So there's going to be a debate. I'll debate those individuals that take a look at us from top to bottom. But I also will say that there's definitely progression from where we were and where we are currently right now. So that's the good news about us. Obviously, on the football side, our history is our history, right? The last 10 years, I don't think there's anyone debating football-wise that we belong. Being in the top 6 in the country, overall wins, having a consistent history and bowl representation, winning on a regular basis. I don't think anybody is saying that we don't belong in football. The debate about all of the different sports, well, that's a different issue, but I would also debate the fact that what drives expansion is definitely a football-focused minded concept. Also, too, making sure that the academics and like institution component is also a part of that assessment.
What do you believe are the primary considerations when they go into conference expansion?
Well, it's the leading question, and I would say that, having been in the Big Ten and watched Nebraska and Rutgers and Maryland and kind of seeing how that process unfolded, and it's interesting. You want to make sure that all of the different pieces line up, like institutions, similar missions, public, private. You want to make sure all those pieces are lined up, academically and athletically. I believe that NIU fits in a number of different categories as you take a look at it. That's why we're constantly in that conversation. You'll throw in the fact that we have a great media market. We have an alumni base that's very robust in the Chicagoland area. You're really starting to pull back the onion, and you're saying, why not NIU? So again, the academic component, the athletic component, and then you want to take a look at the alumni. The alumni piece is key too. How much are they engaged? How many of your alumni are season ticket holders? How is your annual fund? How are your donations? How's your academic index? All these things are what I would call critical when you're making some of those final cuts. And we do understand there's a lot of money and resources in some of these TV contracts, but as you take a look at NIU and what they've been able to do, especially in the primary sports or revenue sports being football and basketball, there's definitely some other potential there that are quite frankly limitless. So you definitely don't want to discount those particular pieces, and those are also major factors to the whole expansion game.
After NIU won the 2016 NCAA MOA Award for Diversity and Inclusion, and with your background in diversity throughout your academic career, you've been outspoken about the racial tension and violence the country is facing today. How do you feel you bring your experience and knowledge that will help NIU specifically and college athletics in general to face this issue?
Yeah, it's a major issue. I'm very passionate about that. I live it daily as a person of color and somebody who really believes that sport can change the world. I didn't say that, Nelson Mandela did. I will say this, we have a great opportunity to be able to impact a great number of people to come together for a common goal, regardless of background, religious, creed, race, socioeconomic background. I think sport transcends all that. It's definitely a microcosm of society. And I think for us, it's incumbent of us in athletic departments who are athletic administrators or quite frankly higher education professionals to unite and have a conversation and create a shared agenda about these issues. It is very troubling. My brother's a police officer. My father's a former federal correctional officer. So I see the issues around some of the violence and some of the racial tensions. And we have a pretty ugly history of slavery in our country. We know that. But at the end of the day, we have great people. And you don't have to be a person of color to champion these issues and these ideals. You just have to be dealing with human rights. And I think we do that on a regular basis. I'm really proud of what we did with the NCAA Diversity and Inclusion Award because it showed that we can all get together and move an agenda, put together a plan, and try to execute that. So I think it's incumbent of us to continuously put this at the forefront and talk about this, just like we do on every other issue that we talk about. But it's important for us as institutions to be a beacon of hope, to move this agenda on these issues so we can shed light on it and we could be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. So I will continue to do that. Our staff here in the athletic department and as well as in the community and on campus have been phenomenal about being a leader. I'm just really humbled to be a part of the process and to watch. And it's really nice to be recognized by the NCAA in doing so.
Your name has been mentioned in connection with multiple job openings over the last several months. What do you say to Husky fans and supporters regarding your future at NIU?
Yeah, it's all about NIU. I cannot stop the folks that want something that NIU has. It's about the body of work of NIU. You know, my name gets connected to a number of different situations, be it employment opportunities or other. It really has to do with what we're doing at NIU. Kind of goes back to the whole expansion conversation. I'm humbled by it. I would tell fans, I would tell folks who are supporters, if it didn't come from me, it's not happening, and it's just that. It's just to sell papers and to spin the social media docket. So, you know, I've done a great job because of the fact I've had a great support. My president's phenomenal. Doug Baker, our senior leadership team, they've done a great job in moving the agenda. I have just recently signed a multi-year contract. I feel really comfortable about my history here. My wife loves it here. My family love it here. A lot of folks don't know about this. I've got 3 beautiful children. I have a son who is autistic. We have received some of the best services in the history of his life here in DeKalb, Illinois. So if you just want to take a look at me and looking at jobs, you need to look at me as a family man. You need to look at me as somebody who's made a significant inroads to his family and making a critical decision to come to NIU. So I share that with folks to let you know that just because there's a job open and someone likes to type in a couple of words and say that I might be linked to it, it's more than a decision just for me. It's about my family and the folks that I, quite frankly, serve here at NIU. I think lastly, I just want to thank the fans and the supporters. This is going to be a tremendous year. I can't wait to the fall season to start. We've done a lot of great things since I've been here, but some of the things that I'm extremely emotional about is the fan base that we have. You know, the media support, our overall, our alumni, our senior management. I want to thank you for continually supporting us day in and day out, unconditionally. God bless you, and let's go Huskies.